So I didn't know about college until my junior year. I didn't even know that thing actually existed. My dad worked in a factory, he cleaned offices at night, and my mother as a janitor. And they would tell me, see, you don't want to be doing this. It's not bad work, but you have the opportunity to do something else, something different.
My mom, I don't think she thought I was going to leave at first until she saw me packing. And then I remember the first day I started packing. Oh, what are you doing? Packing. Packing for what? For UCF, I'm going to college, remember? So to her, it became real. To me, it became real. My sisters, it became real. I know my little sister cried when I left.
Say hey to the camera.
Hi.
Hey, Grandma, how you doing? High school, it was like, I did have fun. I hung out and I went to parties and I did all this, but then when I got to college, it was like, I was so serious and so, I cannot mess this up. I go to work, I go to school, I do organization stuff, and then I'm back home again. I just can't afford fun right now, so I just do what I have to do, pay the bills, get it done, and so, yeah.
Being first gen, I feel like I'm wasting time and I'm wasting money because I haven't declared a major yet. I feel like right now I'm not going to be able to combine my interests to find a job that I love. So when I found the opportunity to travel across the country with 3 complete strangers who were also first in their families to go to college, and along the way talk with people who created their own lives, I knew it was something I wanted to do.
Jenny and Jonathan are arriving right now. Nervous, anxious, excited. I know they're across the country, so they're in states that I've never been in. Really, really nice people from what it appears to be on the phone. Good to see you, man. Oh, good to see you. Hey, Jenny.
I found out we were on the phone.
I think it's her. Is that her? That is her. Has to be her.
I'm the last one.
Welcome to California, our first stop. Woo! First gen road trip! Being first means being first for everything. Being the first to figure out how you can leverage all of this education. Being first to discover what is a master's program. Being the first to travel. I don't think our story is really unique, but like what's so different about us, like that we're able to be on this road trip and a lot of people are not able to be
why
here.
us?
Why us? I don't know what's up ahead, but it feels like there's something that it's all leading up to.
We are hiking 5 miles up a mountain so we can bungee jump off the bridge to nowhere.
We're gonna be up at about 100 feet.
5, 6. How do you feel? You feeling a little bit nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you want to go forward?
Jasmine is like my centerpiece. I cannot imagine life without her.
When I go home and I visit, and there's food in there, but it's not like I'm eating in Colombia. In those moments, I am very doubtful that I'm doing the right thing. I wonder, do they have water? Do they have heat? I'm always thinking like, I can pay this bill so they don't have to worry about it. I can do this for them. Oh, I have enough this time, I can send some home. I just can't let them suffer and not do anything. I can't just stand by.
Trust me, okay? I wouldn't let you do this if it wasn't safe. So just look at me in the eyes now, okay? It's a big jump of faith.
I can't.
You can? Okay.
She's never put herself above anybody else. So it's like, don't you worry about me, I'm gonna be all right. You just worry about you, you be all right. And I want her to take that back from the trip.
Away we go.
Big hop and jump in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bungee. big papa jump. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This was freaking amazing, and I did it.
My name is Jonathan, and I currently attend the University of Central Florida. I was going to major in biomed, and it was because since I was like in 5th grade, everyone knew I was going to become a doctor because that's what I said I wanted to do, so everyone backed that decision. Oh, he's going to be a doctor, he's going to be a doctor, he's going to be a doctor. Then this semester, I took some time and thought about, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I'm kind of interested in something else, and I changed my major to marketing. And I went home and I told everyone about that. You're like, what? You did what? You changed to marketing from biomed. Why would you do that? I thought you were going to be a doctor. I was doing it because I was trying to make them happy, because this is what I thought they expected of me. But I don't know. I still feel like I'm letting people down, and that I should maybe go back to, you know, biomed, and in return that would be my service to everybody that has like backed me. I'm hoping that the people that we interview kind of give us some insight as to how to follow what we want to do.
Oh, you're a little close.
We're about to interview Mr. William Allen Young. He is an actor, humanitarian, director, and founder of a nonprofit, the Young Center. In high school, he's the one who gave me a sense of direction, a sense of purpose, and he's really, 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 really great.
Yeah, man. Good to be seen. I come from a large family, and we grew up right in the heart of Watts, right here in Los Angeles. My mother had to drop out of school at an early age, and there were 7 of us. And she'd work all day long, and then she'd come home. And in our home, my mother was such a stickler for a clean house. So we would have to get down on our knees, and we had hardwood floors, and we would line up behind her, and we would do the wax on, wax off approach, and we'd do the get a good education before you get old, because a good education is better than gold. Gold and silver will wash away, but that good education will never decay. I think that reality hit us a lot earlier. When I was a kid, I was young, but the Watts riots happened. And I remember just watching our neighborhood on fire. And it's almost like not your whole childhood is gone, but a big piece of it. And once the innocence is gone, it's like, welcome to the real world. You know what I mean? But on those days, I still was expected to get A's. Going on to college and getting college degrees and advanced degrees, I never stopped and thought about my circumstance being any excuse for why I wasn't supposed to do those things. And so when I run into young people like you, and I know you were not born with silver spoons in your mouths, and yet here you are, and here we are in this journey, all of us deciding, not on my watch. The line is long with people of all ages who continue to do that. And you think from your vantage point, from our vantage point, how is that possible? That's when you realize you are uncommon. And that is really something you're going to have to grapple with. Own it. Own it.
As we're going on our trip and as we're still finding our own journeys and figuring out our ways, like what is one piece of advice that you think that we could keep with us?
When you were growing up, when I was growing up, there was a world that you belonged to that you had very little control over. You lived in a house, you didn't select your brothers and sisters, you didn't even select your parents. You didn't select what school you were going to. You didn't even select, in most cases, what you were going to wear. You have to now construct your world. It must now look like not what your father's world looked like. As you create your world, realize you can create whatever world you want, which is why you have no excuse later on in life. Your mom and daddy are not doing this anymore. This is you. Create your world and then live in it. Really take full advantage of it. This road trip is an advantage you guys are taking. Benefit from it. Don't just live in it. Create your world and embrace the goodness in it, for that is the place that will prepare you for the rest of your life.
It was a normal day, and I guess when I looked at all I'd seen, bridges burned and men who died, and my boots were getting weary, they were needing a canteen, 'cause we weren't meant to live inside.
When we left, I was like, yes, we're leaving the city, we're leaving the city. And when we got to the desert, it was like that moment of realization that we're really doing this. It's real, it's here, and it starts like right now. You're going.
I know I'm young, I know I'm dying, I'm still dumb, so I'll keep trying.
This is awesome.
No matter where you look, there's canyon around you and you can see like the layers. And just thinking about how big everything is in comparison to me and my life, it's a good way to keep perspective. And just remembering that my problem is like this big compared to the rest of the world. And just taking it one step at a time. My name is Jenny Rogers and I go to Mississippi State University. I'm undecided right now, but I really like math and art. I know I want to minor in art no matter what I do, what I major in. I've definitely gone through a lot more than most kids at my age range. I was born in Georgia and my parents owned a small appliance business. I couldn't say I know what happened with that because we moved to Mississippi until my mom passed. I was 9. The financial weight got on my dad's shoulders more and more. I remember he would just drink almost all the time. He would even get me and my brother in the car with him and drive, and eventually it got to the point where my dad got pulled over 3 times, drunk driving. He left one morning to go to court, and then my uncle came over that afternoon and said, all right, I guess you gotta pack your stuff.
Jennifer, she has a drive and she wants a better life for herself.
I try really hard to keep my head up, but it gets hard.
I went to school here at Flagstaff High School, and then I went to NAU and I got my bachelor's in forestry and eventually my master's, and now I'm the first Navajo woman to get her Colorado River license, guide license, and that's a huge deal in the Grand Canyon.
Would you mind talking about your transition from living on the reservation to high school and then the transition from high school to college?
Well, I can talk easily about it now, but it was really hard for me when I entered high school because I got made fun of the way I looked, the way I talked, and that was very, very hard. My grades plummeted, and eventually, I found some friends, but I never really recovered from being bullied, should I say, in college. That was another huge shock because I never did hard drugs or anything, but I definitely did drink. And I'm not hiding it, but I'll confess that I'm a recovering alcoholic. Being in college and keeping up, I thought that's what you did. And being a river guide, we're a culture that likes to drink, unfortunately, because it seems like a party down there to some people, and when in fact it's not. I was also in an accident that led me to drink even more. And that was the moment that my husband and I said, let's stop drinking.
Where did you get the motivation to keep pushing and to keep going, even facing those challenges and facing criticisms?
I think it was deep down inside. I knew there was something out there for me that I needed to take advantage of. You just push yourself and you listen to people who tell you, you are great, you will be someone someday, you're gonna make a great leader, you will make a difference in someone's life. Listen to those people. We don't say that just because we want to hear ourselves talk.
You mentioned earlier about being the first Navajo woman to get your Colorado River guide license. What does that mean for you as an individual, and I guess for you and your people as a whole?
It's a huge deal to be in this community. There's still a lot of racism, stereotypes, and also I think my role as a Navajo first-generation college student is to tell people like you guys that anything is possible. Take advantage of every opportunity that may be presented to you, or you may see it from afar and say, I'm gonna go get that and I'm gonna do it. It's like a rapid. If you've ever been on whitewater in a rapid, in the Grand Canyon, there's several of them, like Crystal Rapid, I am deathly afraid of. I've broken my oar, it's flipped my boat several times, but I've made it out okay. That is my analogy for life. Just go, do it.
The most powerful moment was when I looked over and she was like hugging Jenny so tight.
Like, I don't think I've ever felt more vulnerable. I don't have to reflect on my past at home. It's hard to face.
It's not all up. There are definitely downs, a lot of downs. We look at them and we see that everything that they've gone through, and they're here and they've made it, right?
I think for us, we always feel like we have to be the strong ones and we have to keep going, so we can't think about what's happened. Right now, I think it's our time to look at our lives and reflect on what happened and be able to cry if we want to cry. This is our time to just be human. You see that lightning?
Whoa, it's time to go.
Powerful. If lightning would hit you now, would you be ready to go?
Oh, Jesus.
Time to go.
Let's get out of here. You're football alive, man. It's amazing.
We have grown into a family. I just feel like I've bonded and made friends that I will never lose.
Yeah, these guys I've gotten to know quicker than friends I've had 14 years.
We're all basically in one traveling room.
We're all sleeping in like little beds and we're like all next to each other all the time. At the end of the day, we may disagree, but we always support each other.
Let's do it.
Felipe?
Tell us what to do.
Are we ready? Are we ready?
It's
on my foot and my hand.
Yeah, we have a leak.
Oh, that stinks.
I can't take
bad.
this.
This was part of the deal.
Freaking gross.
Oh my God.
Where's the thing? Where's the whole thing?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
I did last time.
I did last time.
I did last time.
I'll do it. I already got it on my hands and feet. I'll do it.
Oh, God.
If you get sick, on me.
This is gonna scar me for the rest of my life.
We gotta burn these now.
All right, Felipe, we
It
good.
was only $1. I can't burn them.
Is this still on?
Felipe, turn it off. What are you doing?
We really tried to turn it off, and then Felipe just like smashed the sign like.
I thought we were friends.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm in Texas. Never thought I'd be in Texas.
We're in the middle of the country, basically in the South.
It's all been happening so fast. Like, we're like halfway through our trip already. We have 4 interviews in Texas that we're nervous but also excited for.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I'm in Austin, Texas now, but I'm the first person out of 4 living generations to have left Mississippi.
There was a deep calling inside of me. I couldn't necessarily put my finger on and exactly what it was, but I just knew that I was called to help people.
Why do you think that you didn't just fall into line and stay in Mississippi for a 5th generation? Or why do you think that you're different?
I've asked myself that a lot. Think of like plants, right? Like tomatoes can't grow in every climate. You know, like cactus can't grow in every climate. I think people are the same way. Like, certain people are going to thrive in certain environments, and other people are not going to thrive in those same environments.
I didn't know that this was my dream, and I just sort of very serendipitously fell into it. But even though I didn't know this was my dream, it feels like a dream because I wake up every morning happy to go to work.
All the leaders, their purpose is authentic. The work that they do is for a reason. They just listen to that voice within them, which is a voice that we're all trying to find on the road trip.
I don't want to be 70, I don't want to be 80. And all I can talk about is what I should have did. I want to be able to sit around and talk about what we did. That was good. Let's do it. Just go with it.
How's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well.
Hi.
Jenny, is that right?
Jenny, yes.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Hi.
Felipe.
Felipe?
Yes, nice to meet
Mucho
you.
gusto.
Jasmine.
Jonathan. Jonathan, good to meet you. So tell me, where are you in school right now?
I'm a junior at UCF, University of Central Florida.
That's right, UCF.
Yep. And I'm a junior at the University of South Carolina Columbia campus, majoring in education.
South Carolina.
Mhm.
All right, you talk faster than I listen.
Excuse me, my bad. I'm sorry.
Where are you, Felipe?
I'm an alumni from the University of California, Irvine.
Okay, UC Irvine.
That's right.
I think I saw a picture. You had like a Mississippi State
Yeah.
shirt on, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm entering my sophomore year at Mississippi State. I'm undecided, but I think I want to do something with math and a minor in art.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Math and a minor in art.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good, good. Well, it's good meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Did you know that you wanted to basically be a CEO of a company? When you were our age, did you kind of have like a path of where you knew you wanted to end up?
Yeah, I had a very explicit path, and it worked out exactly as I thought it would. No, I had absolutely no expectations that I would be a CEO of a big company like AT&T. In fact, if you'd asked me to guess when I was sitting in your chairs, I would have probably told you I would be running my own company. My father was a serial entrepreneur, and in fact, he used to try to get me not to go to college so that I could work with him, right? And so I would have assumed that I was probably going to do the same thing.
So how did you begin your work with AT&T?
I got my job the old-fashioned way. My brother got me on.
You know some people who know some people.
Right. My wife and I decided to get married while I was going to college, and she said, well, you need to be bringing some money in too, not just me. And so I said, all right, I'm going to go get a job. And I talked to my brother who was working for Southwestern Bell, and he arranged for me to get an interview, and so I took a job working in our computer room. doing late night jobs, hanging tapes on tape drives and fixing programming jobs in the middle of the night. It's really exciting. Actually, I tell people the programming aspect of it, I look back, it was probably one of the funnest jobs I ever had.
So all of us are first generation college students, and some of us are dealing with working two jobs, going to college, and dealing with these life-changing decisions. I'm sort of curious, what sort of big decisions were you making at our age?
My father was in the agriculture business, and so I started out in college as a animal husbandry major, and how to care for and take care of large animals, cattle and so forth. I didn't do very well, to be quite honest with you, my first year, and I literally took a year out and just worked with my dad. He told me I never had a college education, and you know, we can work together, and I think we can do quite well. And after a year I said, no, I think that's something I need to do, and I need to do it for myself and for my family. And so I'm glad I did it. I don't know that it is for everyone, but I think it was the right decision for me. More than anything, I believe what one should try to glean from college and what one should get from college is learning how to think, and learning how to think independently, okay? We're all raised with you know, the biases of the communities where we live and our parents, and that is all good. But college exposes you to new and different things. And I began to take a number of business classes, particularly accounting, as part of the normal curriculum. And I found I was quite good at it. And fell in love with it. And so one thing led to another. I went to business school and received a master's from the University of Oklahoma. But I needed a job. I had a wife and a child while I was going to college, and so I started working at a company called Southwestern Bell. And while I was going through school, and I got a phone call from one of our executives in St. Louis. And I'll never forget, he called me after I'd worked one of these late night shifts. I was sound asleep. And he asked, hey, could I get you to come see me in St. Louis and just let's have a conversation. My question to him was, who's going to pay for the trip? I was broke, all right? I had no money. And he said, if you'll come up here, I'll pay for the trip. And so I went up, and he talked to me about the opportunities in what was Southwestern Bell at the time. They just divested from AT&T. They needed professional talent in accounting and finance and those type areas. And he offered me a job, and I was really enthused and excited about it. That's another one of these big decisions. I made the decision to go to St. Louis and continue working for Southwestern Bell.
Mr. Stevenson, you are the chairman and CEO of the world's largest telecommunications company. I see that as being very, very successful. So how would you define success?
What you just said is very exciting. It's very fun. I find the work very satisfying. But at the end of the day, success, failure, satisfaction from my job, it's about the people side. It's about the people interaction. Whatever you're doing, whether it is cooking dinner this evening for your family, whether it is doing a task as CEO of AT&T, whether it is mowing your lawn on Saturday, seek excellence in every single thing you do. Establish a pattern, establish a habit of whatever I take on, whatever I am doing at this instant, do it with excellence. Try to achieve perfection. Don't be crazy about that, but just have an attitude that I want excellence in everything I do. And if you pursue excellence in everything, it becomes habitual, all right? And then whatever it is you touch it with an intention of excellence. And if I have, great, as you characterize success, if I have the great fortune of doing these great things with AT&T and in the telecommunications world, but my family is not happy, or I don't enjoy my time with my family, I don't get to spend time with my family, that's not success in my mind, okay? Because you're letting down and you are failing at the relationships that are most important to you. If I am not successful in having and establishing great relationships with the people that I work with day in and day out, then I'm failing. But at the end of the day, success in my mind is what effect have you had on other people?
Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. Take care.
So we got a call saying, oh, we might have to go to Seattle. We have Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, who is like really ready for an interview. Like, can y'all do it? Are y'all ready to do it?
I've never flown on an airplane ever before. I've always had this fear of flying, and I realized that planes aren't that bad. I mean, just get on the plane and go to sleep. You wake up, you're in a new state.
When we landed, it was just like a culture shock. It was like, what is this? Because we went from burning hot heat to cold and rain.
Traveling has been really, really beneficial because not only have I found places that I really love, but I can feel myself being pulled to a different place physically.
Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I lived in the projects, which is federally subsidized housing. My brother and sister and I saw things that were skewed towards the fracturing of the American dream, and I think it gave us an understanding that we would have to work very hard to not be defined by the station we were in life at that time. And I'm a product of that.
What was it like going from your high school in Brooklyn to like going into college, and what was that transition like?
That was 1971. You guys were not even thought about it. I left Brooklyn, I went to Michigan, and I didn't know anybody, and I was scared and insecure. And my sophomore year in college, I was donating blood in order to eat. You remember those things?
As first-generation students, sometimes we have this sense of uncertainty as to where we're going.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you had any of those feelings after graduating from college, entering the real world.
Well, I'll go a step further. Not only uncertainty, but fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of not making it, fear of disappointing people. Most people who have achieved great success have had failures. You want to be the kind of person that is going to overcome adversity and learn from it and overcome the challenges of life, because it's not an easy life. It's hard, it's challenging, it's rough. There's always going to be people who tell you, and they told me, that what you're aspiring to do or dreaming about or attempting to do can't be done, or you're aiming too high. The greatest strength you have is your convictions and your core purpose about what you want to do and how you want to live and define your life. And you shouldn't allow anyone, and this may not be politically correct, even your parents, to tell you your dreams can't come true. So what I say to you is, when you look in the mirror and you reflect back, ensure the fact that you're proud of the decisions you're making, the kind of person you are.
When I went skydiving, I was told to leave some stuff in the sky. Don't bring it down with me. Leave some stuff in the sky. What can I leave in the sky? What is it that I don't want to bring down with me? What is it that I can't carry anymore? When the door opened and I hit the wind, I felt like something hit my chest, and it was like, let it go. I started to scream. Like, I really just started screaming. And I felt like as I was screaming, all the screams that nobody heard, all the screams that I felt like were ignored, all the pain that I felt like it was just drifting out in that scream. And I felt this sense of weightlessness. And I feel like that is the lightest I've ever been in my life. And when we land, I felt like I landed in a new place. It was the same field that I had taken off in, but it was in that moment when I decided, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna change. It's not all at once. It's not gonna happen just in an instant. But just keep working and just keep growing and just keep trying and just don't give up.
Driving down Birmingham, I was thinking about the history behind Birmingham, the civil rights movement.
Birmingham is like the melting pot of the civil rights movement. It's where everything got its attention from. It was from Alabama. And being a history major, going into education and going to teach history, what better way to get my information than from the source, from someone who sat there. Miss Odessa Woolfolk was a civil rights activist, and she actually participated in the movement itself that happened in Alabama.
I was a teacher in 1963 when the civil rights movement in Birmingham reached its crescendo. And several of the students that I taught then went to jail, marched, etc. Now, I'm not all that brave, but everybody doesn't have to be on the front line. So I ended up being a teacher.
You're going to have 50 unsolved bombings. If you talked about voting rights, your house could be bombed. If you were a person that talked about integrating the local swimming pool, your house would be bombed. And Birmingham gets this awful nickname. It's going to go from being the magic city, Birmingham, to Bombingham, the tragic city.
Present day, like when you look across the street to the park and you see all the different monuments and the statues of what is represented as what happened in the civil rights movement, like how does that make you feel knowing that you were there, you were a part of that?
It's spiritual. It's spiritual, and whenever I go through the park and I recollect those individuals and their lives and how important their lives were, if I'm over there, I think about everybody who was a part of that made it possible for you not to have to go through that. I don't think anybody who has been successful has had a pain-free life, because pain is a stimulus. Embarrassment, falling on your face, is a motivator. Mm-hmm. You owe it to yourselves to look deep down inside and tap into doing something for somebody other than yourself.
You like to separate yourself from the past and say, this happened, but whatever. They learned from it, we learned from it, we're just gonna move forward now. But seeing that museum was like, this is real, this happened. They didn't know that I was gonna be here, but yet they fought for me anyway. Because of what they fought for, I've been given this life, and it just makes you feel so blessed.
When I was 19, I thought that I would take a very easy road, a 2-year degree, maybe become a secretary, because I had an older cousin that was a secretary working in City Hall, and so that was appealing. And now seeing the journey in my career, having this opportunity as executive director of the White House Initiative on Educational Excellence, I get to work with Secretary Arne Duncan and President Obama on how do we ensure that every child has a quality education. And for me, right now I'm in my dream job, so I don't even know after this what I would do, because I have the opportunity to do outreach and I have the opportunity to work on policy and work with my community. The more I explored about opportunities and what college would offer me, the more I learned that I could do anything I wanted to if I was equipped with the education degree that would open those doors for me. There are still times where I'm afraid of the what ifs, but I just know so many doors have been opened to me because of my education, and it's that grit and resilience that's really gonna get you to achieve your dreams and your goals. Dare to dream, porque sí se puede. Adelante, Alejandra Ceja. It's going to be tough. There will be times where you fall down, but your job is not to avoid falling down. It's to make sure that each time it happens that you get up and you move in the only direction that matters, and that's forward.
We're sitting in front of the Department of Education, and two people just like walked up and they were like, someone saw your RV. So we went and told Mr. Duncan, and he wants to interview you guys today. And we're like, yeah.
We'll see if we can squeeze them in.
What's going on, guys? Are you living out here?
Yes,
sir.
How you doing?
So did you always know that you were gonna end up in education, or is that like?
I had a pretty unique upbringing. I grew up in Hyde Park in south side of Chicago, which is a middle-class, integrated neighborhood. My mother started an inner-city tutoring program on the south side of Chicago and literally raised me and my sister and brother from the time we were born as a part of her program. What we saw every day were kids who had huge challenges at home, in the community, but because they had my mom and other people in their lives, they went on to do absolutely amazing things. This job I didn't even know existed, but to have an impact, first running an after-school program myself, then helping start a small public school on the outside, then working for the Chicago Public Schools and leading them, and coming here. This is what I love, this is my passion, and didn't necessarily know it at your age concretely what that meant, but I knew I wanted to help kids who weren't born with all the advantages that I had, but had as much or more potential, and to sort of fill that potential with opportunity, meet that potential with real opportunity.
What advice do you have for us moving forward in our life and on the road that we can pass down to others or just keep to ourselves?
Well, first of all, you guys are just amazing role models and leaders now, like not future leaders, but like leaders now. Being the first in your family, not just going to college, but completing college. I absolutely believe you're changing not just your lives, but the lives of your children and your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. You're changing a generation of lives in a profound way that may be even hard for you to comprehend now. And so you guys living this, beyond living on this bus for 5 weeks and traveling the country, which is fantastic, the example you set every day is huge.
Do you mind reading it to us if you could?
Yeah, my handwriting's not very good, is it? Thanks for the example of grit and leadership you give young people and the nation every day. I'm proud of you guys.
That was cool, man. That was awesome what just happened.
I'm still getting over the fact that the Secretary of Education wanted to specifically meet with us.
Just talk to us. It was
He sat on my bed.
awesome. It was awesome. He sat on your bed?
He sat on my
Sat on
bed.
my bed. I didn't see that. Let me see that step again. Hey, man, that's the motivation step.
I'm Duncan. I'm Duncan. I'm Duncan.
So I came to this country in high school. I knew of America from watching TV. So I thought all black people in America are like Fresh Prince. Uncle Phil, yay, I'm so excited. And then I thought all white families were like Full House. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna win. This is gonna be great. And when I arrived, when I say culture shock is actually an understatement, it was just smack in the face. So for me, because I didn't understand the American vernacular, I was put in special ed. And I think that was tough for me because I came from an environment when everyone looked like me, and it was easy. I just show up and I do my thing. Freshman year of high school, I looked like a young boy. I would go days sometimes without talking to anyone and anyone even talking to me or even noticing I was there, to the point where I started isolating myself. So instead of going to lunch to the cafeteria, I would go to the bathroom and I would sit up, you know, like when you put your feet up on the toilet, and I would open my lunch bag really slowly, like in a brown bag, and eat, make sure nobody sees me. And let's say you finish going to the bathroom, you go wash your hands. I would not look up in the mirror. I was afraid to see the person I was because everyone around me didn't look like me, and they spoke differently, and they were beautiful. They were like checking their makeup, fixing their hair. I'm like, let me just wash my hands and get out of here, because I thought like if I looked up in the mirror and I fixed anything, they would think, she really thinks she's even pretty or beautiful. Like, that isolation did so much damage for my self-esteem. It took me years to build that back. I just did not come into myself until way later in life.
Sometimes at my school, I feel like I don't belong. I feel like there's the athletes, and there are like the black Greeks, and there are the white Greeks, and then there's like everybody else stuck trying to find their way. And like, how did you get over that feeling of just not feeling like you belonged in a place?
So my senior year, I was not yet a permanent resident, so I couldn't go away to school. At that time, I was young enough to think of it as, why me? I have worked, I deserve to go away to school. I deserve an education. It's the reason why I came to this country. But I was so busy comparing myself to everybody else's experience. I really was not centered in where I was and understanding and celebrating my journey. And I wish I had, because you miss out on yourself. I say that a lot. I missed out on myself when I was busy trying to fit in and be like everyone else. I missed out on my own experience. So my advice would be, don't.
What was that defining moment where you figured out who you were as a person?
So I launched the InvisibleNeighbors.com in September. And I was telling a friend, I was like, I wrote this story about my first year in America, but I'm afraid to share it. And it stopped becoming a shameful thing. It started becoming an owning thing, owning who you are, owning every part of your experience. When I wrote that story about my first year in America, I thought people were gonna get it, people who were immigrants, and also had a rough first year. Nah, I connected with pretty much everyone. They were like, yeah, I can, that's how you're connecting us. By sharing your little personal thing, you thought you were alone, we get to relate to that. When you guys came here and told me your stories, it brings me to tears, because I know what it's like to have an alcoholic parent. I know what it's like to live without a parent. I know what it's like to live in poverty. I know what it's like to have to figure things out on my own. And feeling isolated in those struggles, because we're ashamed to share when we struggle. Regardless of what struggle you're going through, I can validate that, because I'm not the only one. You're not the only one, I'm not the only one. We're all connected in this. And actually, I like it. I like the struggle, because I think I'm worthy of that struggle. Everything that I've imagined will be so bad and it will break me down has left me right here in front of you, strong.
It's not like I have this desire to like meet people and be like, oh hey, nice to meet you, my name's Jenny, I lost my mom when I was 10 and my dad's an alcoholic and he's in jail. But if I trust a person enough and explain how it's made me a stronger person, so that way I can help them, it's definitely a benefit that came out of growing up the way I did.
I have mixed emotions about the ending of the trip. I want to go home, but I don't want to go home. I want to stay here, and I'm like, like, I'm ready for my space and freedom, but I feel like I'm just going to miss everybody so much.
Like, I've been saying this whole time, I've been telling my friends and stuff back at home, like, I could do road trip forever. I haven't gotten tired of doing interviews. I haven't gotten tired of being around with these people. I've never been happier.
New York has always been a place I wanted to go to. Broadway, Statue of Liberty, museums. I want to do everything in New York.
Immediately you get the sense of the city. You know, horns blaring, music playing, and then smells. It was sort of like everything else was training for this, and you made it here to the end.
We are about to interview John Legend, who is a popular R&B singer. He's a very big humanitarian, and he's just really about making a positive change in the community.
So 19 and 20, I was at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So from ages 20 through 23, I was doing management consulting during the day and performing and recording and doing musical things at night. And so there was a lot going on, but goal was to always be exactly where I am right now.
What kind of roadblocks and failures have you had in your life that made you the person that you are now, and how did you deal with them at the time?
Well, there's all kinds of issues that have come up. You know, one of them was when my parents got divorced. That was very difficult for me. Another obstacle was just being a first-generation college student. I was definitely a fish out of water when I first arrived in Philadelphia. And my parents didn't have all the tools that they needed to give me great advice on how to do that. So, you know, you have to meet other people and connect with other people that can help you. You know, there were record labels that turned me down, and people did say no to me, but I never felt like any doors were completely closed. I always looked at it as no for now, and come back later and maybe we'll say yes.
As a successful recording artist, how would you define success?
Well, I think success has a lot to do with finding something you love and putting everything you have into it. And if you do that, you're going to end up being really good at it because you put so much time and energy into it, and you're going to get joy from doing it. I fell in love with music at a young age. I loved being on stage. I loved performing in front of a crowd. And so when you love something like that, it makes you want to figure out how to do it forever.
Us all being first-generation college students, all of us are like on the similar journey. What kind of advice do you think we should live by in our daily lives?
Well, I think first of all, don't give up. To be successful in life, you have to be able to get past these obstacles that are in your way. You have to, you know you're going to struggle with certain things. You know, you may have issues paying for college. You may have issues not knowing all the skills that you need to know to navigate the situation because you're first generation. It's going to be harder for you than for other people, but what's going to make you successful is if you, despite these challenges, figure out a way to make it work. And you can do it.
Being first gen, we're not the first explorers, and sometimes it feels like we are, but we're not. We're the first to do it here. We're the first to do it now. The fact that I didn't hear about college until my junior year of high school, and that speaks volumes about what needs to be done in the community, and I was one of the lucky ones. My next part is mobilizing that first generation community, because a lot of people don't have that kind of fortune, and I want to be the person who reaches out to them, gives them that hand, so that they do have that ability to say, I'm one of the lucky ones.
We're interviewing Anna Maria Chávez, the CEO of Girl Scouts USA.
And it's really special for us because it's coming down to a close. This is our last interview of the trip.
I feel good. At the same time, it's kind of sad because, I mean, since it's the last one, that means we'll be splitting up and have to go back home. So I'm gonna miss these guys.
So I actually grew up in a very small farm town. I didn't realize what a different experience I was living until I got to high school, because we moved to Phoenix, where I was a minority. And that's when really sort of the labels came on, like, oh, girl at risk or girl of color. And I was like, well, that has nothing to do with my identity. I'm Anna Maria Chávez. When I was growing up in Arizona, I happened to be introduced to the Girl Scouts. That's when I discovered my passion around protecting the environment and our infrastructure for future generations. And literally because of that, I decided at the age of 12 I wanted to become an attorney. And so I went to our public library and I talked to the librarian. I said, how do I do this? How do I get into law school? She's like, well, it's a very deliberate path. You know, you've got to graduate from high school with good grades, you've got to get into a university, and then you've got to get into law school, and then you've got to pass a bar exam. And that can be pretty daunting at the age of 12, right? And so I opened up the books, I said, okay, got a grade from high school, I got to do this. So that is why my parents moved us to Phoenix, because they wanted me to have a really good experience in high school. And so that was my path, and it all started because of Girl Scouts.
So we would like to know what it was like and like where you were at our age range, which is from 19 to 24.
19 to 24. At 19, I was at Yale. Applied honestly because they sent me a brochure in the mail, and I was so naive. I thought, oh, they're sending me a brochure. Yale must want me to go. This was, you know, the late 80s. My freshman year, I was one of 16 Mexican-American students on campus. And so everything was different about me. You know, I had never seen snow before. I hadn't gone to boarding school. It was my first time away from home. I was so homesick. There were a lot of obviously very driven people around me. Most of them were valedictorians of their high schools. So I was constantly like, okay, when are they going to find out it was a mistake and pull my admission, right? So I better get this degree now. But for me, I had waited so long to get to college that I had a blast. I just focused and did as much as I could.
How does the work you do today relate to that 12-year-old Anna Maria who figured out that this was her purpose in life?
Oh, thank you for that question. First of all, I can't believe I'm doing this job. It is the most amazing opportunity. And every time I wake up, I think about how blessed I am, right? I could literally have gone down a completely different path. If you had looked back during the 1960s when I was born in a particular segment of this country, every social indicator, every economic indicator surrounding me pointed me down a different path. So why me? Why was I allowed to go down this certain path? Every time I've stepped into a new situation, I'm normally the first of, right? There hasn't been a long path of people before me to reach back and go, okay, here's the playbook, go for it. It's gonna get a little scary. But your only job in life is to stay on that track because you are destined to do great things. So regardless of what people are throwing at you and what barriers they put in your track, don't worry about it because nobody can change your track. Only you can.
When we started this trip, we asked, why us? Why us? And now I'm asking, why not us? I'm not squeezing. I'm just like... Oh, see, somebody's squeezing. Somebody's...
After being on this trip, I definitely know that I'm on the right track with my major and my minor because the fear has definitely calmed down about wasting money or wasting time. And I feel like after maybe meeting with the counselor a couple times, I can probably declare probably by the end of the semester coming up.
This road trip was a road to self-realization. Being a biomed major and trying to become a doctor, I felt like I had to do it because everyone expected that from me. But I've realized it's all internal. It's coming from me. I need to stop putting so much pressure on myself and trying to make what I think is everyone's expectations my priority, and I need to start thinking of myself. The Jonathan I was before this road trip and the Jonathan now are like two different extremes. Like, the Jonathan before this road trip is still in California. I left him there. The Jonathan now is in New York. This is the one I'm going to take with me back home.
A lot of people are surviving, trying to make ends meet, 9 to 5, then second job, putting food on the table. And we know all those people. A lot of them come from our background, or our families, our fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers. But this summer, we lived. We had the opportunity to actually leave all that, to say, we don't have to work a 9 to 5 today. I don't have to go to my internship. I don't have to go work at the hotel. We didn't have to do that. We got to really dive into some heavy stuff. Ask those questions that a lot of people don't have the time to ask because they don't have the luxury to. This summer, we lived. We lived.
This summer, I changed my life. That's what I did. I traveled, I saw places, I sat in the middle of fears and conquered them, and I feel like I have worth now.
I hope I can look back on Roadtrip and look back at the end of it and how I feel now in my own skin. And I hope I never forget that. I hope I never lose it. I want to be able to remember and remind myself how happy I can make myself without anybody else's help.
The College Board has made it possible for this presentation to be shared on public television stations across the country, helping a nation of young people find their own roads in life. The College Board. Connect to college success.
This program is part of American Graduate. Let's make it happen. A public media initiative made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.